What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Own Your Shit with Jenn Carrasco. You're gonna have to I'm a little congested, so you can probably hear it. So you're gonna have to get past that. But anyway, last week we dove in a little bit deeper and talked about structures and routines. And pretty much we talked about creating your perfect day. So that was your homework to do, was creating that perfect day. And to me, visualizing a perfect day, we can start implementing these little structures one point at a time. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of tidbit from myself. So I felt, how do I say that? About November, December of last year, I felt myself getting into a point to where I was wearing multiple hats, and I was doing my EOS work. Then I was hopping into taking care of like my online clients, and then hopping into my clinic, and still going in there and implementing stuff that I had to do in the clinic. And what I realized is that, you know what, I was lacking time for myself. I was constantly getting sick. I was trying to fulfill everybody's needs. And it wasn't actually my visualization of what my perfect day was for Jenn. It wasn't what I wanted. And what people don't seem to understand is we get caught in the mundane day-to-day life and structure, right? And we get caught, well, we need to do this because this person expects this out of me, or I need to do these things because this is what's going to make me successful. But we seem to not get back to our own lives and our own personal lives and say, but do I enjoy doing that? Do I enjoy going and doing those things? Like, driving to my clinic is an hour to an hour and 15 just one way. Sometimes that's like literally 2.5 to 3 hours in a car a day. Do I enjoy doing that 7 days or 6 days plus doing all my other stuff? And it kind of got to a point to where I was getting burnt out and I didn't have enough time for Jenn. And so when I say visualize your perfect day, I want you to visualize literally what is a perfect day for you. Well, I'm never going to retire. That's just not who I am. I'm not going to just stick with one trade because that's not who I am. I like to be in multiple things. Like, I get enjoyment out of doing different things. That's just who I am. And so I realized, okay, in a perfect world, or a perfect day for Jenn, what would that look like? And I thought to myself, well, you know what? I want to make sure that I get 8 hours of sleep, because if I get 8 hours of sleep, like, I can function really well. I'm really like great to be around. I'm really enthusiastic. But then on top of that, I'm like, well, I don't want to work out every single day because I'm sore and I need to recover, right? And I don't want to do cardio every day. I don't enjoy that. So what days do I want to do it? So I started to figure out, okay, well, you know what? In a perfect day for Jenn, it's not necessarily the same thing 7 days a week, right? So I started to analyze, okay, what's my perfect day for a Monday? What's my perfect day for a Tuesday? Sorry, I was far away from that. What is my perfect day for a Tuesday? And then I started thinking, you know what? I can create the life I want. Why can't I? I can. I'm my own creator. I'm my own master of Jenn world, right? And so I thought to myself, well, you know what? On Mondays, I like to go to the clinic still. I like to have clients in the clinic still. I enjoy it. It's almost like my creativity. It's my freedom time. I don't paint, but I can do a masterpiece on somebody's skin, right? So I thought, okay, but I want to get in my workout. Like, I love spin class, but I know, like, if I do spin every day, my legs are jacked. So Meaning not jack like muscle jack like I can't freaking walk. And so I thought to myself, okay, Mondays, I can wake up at this time and then I have my morning routine. Like I shared on my last podcast, I have a morning routine. I like to have my coffee. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me fucking questions because I'm a grumpy ass. Um, and so I have my morning coffee, and then my morning coffee allows me to do my morning poop session. I know that's TMI, but I need that to happen. And then I'm a happy, better person through the day. And so then I was like, well, then I can answer all my emails that I need to, do all my morning stuff. And then I'm able to hop on, my Peloton bike for 30 to 45 minutes. And then I take a shower, get ready, and then I go into the office. And I don't go into the office until like 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But to me, then I beat traffic, right? Because I'm leaving later. I spend the whole day like taking about four or five clients and then dealing with all the tasks that I need to in there. And then I leave work at like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and it allows me to get home and either draw a bath if I want to. I'm a huge bath person. And so draw a bath or take a shower, whatever it may be, decompress, and then be able to go to bed at the right time again. And then on Tuesdays, so I'm in clinic usually Monday, Tuesday, and then I'll do maybe a Wednesday, depending on my schedule. But I've decided to start creating the day that I want, right? And I'm sure that day is going to change because I'm sure there's going to be one day that, I'm not going to be doing that drive anymore. And maybe I'll be traveling more, or I'll be doing more with clients or speaking, or, you know what I mean? But the thing is that what we need to start doing, and what people don't get at, is that you need to enjoy every day, because that day might be your last day, right? So why are you going to run around doing everything for everybody because they expect you to, or because you're being a people pleaser? You need to do things that are going to benefit you. And the thing that I have learned is, when I do things that benefit Jenn and make Jenn happy, I am actually going to be making more money, and I'm going to be more proficient. So for me, creating that perfect day, or creating that perfect week, or whatever the day may look like for you, this is a huge homework assignment that you are going to get so much education out of. And you're going to realize what is important to you. Like for me, as as I travel so much, and I don't want to be in the clinic until 8 o'clock at night anymore, because I travel so much. I like to be home at a certain time to have dinner with my other half, my boyfriend, or go to the gym with him at least and spend some time with him. Because I know out of the whole week, I'm going to be traveling like probably 2 weeks out of the month, and I'm not going to get that time with him. And so for me, that is important. And so what I realized that I needed to do in order to make my lifestyle be the way that it's custom to be, and still be able to please other people, like as far as the clinic or my coaching or whatever it may be, I enjoy these aspects of it, but I also don't want to take my time away from things that I enjoy. So you have to make it a point that I said, okay, I am cutting my hours down in my clinic, but I'm raising my prices, right? So I raised my prices to a certain point to where they're not super, super expensive, but they're definitely more than the average. And the thing is that, yeah, I've cut down some of my clientele, but I've kept the clientele that I actually thoroughly enjoy having. And for me, it's made up in that, right? So I make that up by doing that. And then on top of that, I'm able to travel and visit my other clients for coaching or EOS or these little things in, that I love to do. And so that is kind of my gift to you that I want to tell you, is sit down and really contemplate, like, okay, I like doing this, but I also like doing this other thing. I'm going to design my life to fulfill that week how you want it to be, right? And you're worth it. So with that, I hope that you guys did a great outline of what a perfect week would look like or a perfect day for you. And if not, maybe go back to it and just tweak it a little bit more of what that day would look like. So if you guys are just popping in and this is new to you, scroll back to last week's episode because I did talk about my routine. I talked about what I did every day. And it really, it really resonates because sometimes people are morning people. Sometimes people are night people. Everybody's different. So you need to utilize what you're best at that time period, right? So with that going forward, I'm going to look, I made myself a little list here of what I went over last time. So after you set your perfect day or your perfect week, I start to set in boundaries. And so when I talked about how I upped my prices in the clinic, right, to see me and I cut my days back, that was a boundary, right? I set a boundary in there. I set a boundary that, hey, I'm worth this price. And you're going to get, 90 minutes to 2 hours of me personally because I travel so much that it's hard for me to get in the clinic and I'm not going to work under a certain price, right? So I set boundaries for my clients. Those were my boundaries. So the process and the schedule above that I talked about, well, the last podcast, my process that I have and my schedule, those are boundaries that I set, right? I take clients from, I don't know, 12 to 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, right? That was a boundary. I won't do that. I won't take anybody else, but I am going to go over that. You are going to make exceptions for things, right? So whenever I share with people, this is literally how I run my business and my life. I get a lot of people's reactions like, wow, that's awesome. I wish I could do that. Well, it's honestly, it's super easy to follow. And by disbelief that something like this would actually be possible for them to set up, it's super easy. The reason why I got so disciplined is from my bodybuilding lifestyle. And that actually taught me a lot in business structure. It set the groundwork for me to actually be more disciplined and more motivated with what I was doing. So, there's always followed when I talk about this, a lack of confidence that, my clients or people asking me these questions wouldn't bend over backwards. They bend over backwards for whatever their clients' wants or needs are. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but you should definitely set boundaries with that because people are not going to prioritize your time if you do not do that. For instance, I'm going to give an example. I've had a client that has been my client for probably over 20 years. And lately she's been just randomly late or not showing up. And, Jenn back in the day would bend over backwards for her because we have a relationship. But Jenn nowadays is like, you know what? My time is worth things. My time is valuable. And there has to be boundaries set with this. And so I set boundaries. And with setting those boundaries, they don't walk over them anymore. They actually respect you a whole lot more. So, you know what? The more boundaries I have set in all of the areas of my life, the more established and tight my process has gotten over the years. The more my clients respect me and the better our working relationship actually becomes. You too, you can build that. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you schedule out the lifestyle that you want. This is the basis of all fundamentals that need to happen. You need to be brave enough to stick to it and protect your boundaries. Now, when I do EOS coaching and I talk to a lot of people, we talk about the accountability chart. And if you don't follow me on social media, I'm actually going to dive in doing accountability chart on a live process. And I'm going to do that here I actually think I'm going to do it tomorrow if I feel a little better. My nose is kind of sniffly. So tomorrow, well, you'll see it on my Facebook. So if you follow my Facebook, it should be on a live feed on there. And I'm going to walk you guys through how to build an accountability chart. Accountability chart is huge for any foundation of your company. The reason why is it's setting in exactly who the roles are in the company and what to-dos they have to do in the company and who owns them. The reason why it is so important is because if somebody fucks up and somebody doesn't do something in their job description, you know exactly who's accountable for that. And you can ask them why it's not done. And you can hear their excuses, or you can find out if they're the right people in the right seat, right? So that is the foundation of every business. But what people fail to understand is that every person should have a foundation chart. Okay. I call it actually a responsibility chart. So what the fuck is a responsibility chart? A responsibility chart places the accountability for a task upon either a person or a role, right? The person in that role. Responsibility charting is a way to ensure that everybody knows what the role is, why they play in that role or the organization, if it's a company, with anybody assuming that any given task is one person's job. So when I go into companies for EOS and we set their accountability charts, there is not two people in one role, because we cannot go back at that person and ask, why is that not done? Oh, because so-and-so didn't do it. And then there's two people that you can throw the bullshit back and forth on, right? So with a accountability chart, you're not going to have that. You're having the one person in the role. So I call it a responsibility chart when it comes to myself. So the thing is that, I make a responsibility chart for myself of what it's supposed to look like. So my responsibility chart for myself is my daily planner, right? So I'm building, it's not perfect, but I'm building the lifestyle that I want to live like, right? I'm building my days of what I want them to look like. It's not perfect. It's work in progress. And it's always going to be work in progress, right? It's the same thing for an accountability chart for a business. It's never going to stay the same. If you stay the same in 6 months, then your business is freaking like going to crash, or it's going to be stable forever. And that's not going to honestly, it doesn't make a lot of people happy, because a lot of people want to make more money as they grow, right? I know for myself, my life, I've grown over and over and over thousands of times. Well, that's how your accountability chart should be. So accountability chart in a business should always be 6 to 12 months out of what you want it to look like. Your responsibility chart, which I call for myself, should be 6 to 12 months of what you want it to look like. And then what you can do, and this is what I started doing, and I started this last October, November. So we're in February now. So it is starting to finally show up in my daily calendar, because I started implementing my calendar to look exactly what Jen's day is going to look like. So I'm happy. So that is why I'm here on a podcast on a Wednesday. I don't do podcasts on a Wednesday. Before, I used to do them on a Friday, because I would try to cram all my podcasts in on a Friday, because Thursday I had all my coaching clients. And so as you can see, I was pulling my hair out. I had way too many things going on. And so now it's a little bit more ebb and flow for me. It's nicer. Besides that, I'm sick again, but I think that's just from traveling. So responsibility chart, I want you to plan that out now. So you did what a perfect day looks like, and maybe you need to go back in and edit a little bit. So now your homework is going to be that you are going to build your responsibility chart, right? So responsibility chart is 6 to 12 months out. I want you to start going in your calendar and actually planning your calendar exactly each day what you want it to start looking like. Okay. Maybe you should get off at 4 o'clock so you can go to dinner with your husband or your wife, or you get off at 4 o'clock. So then that way you can get a workout in, or you go to bed at 9 o'clock. So you wake up at a certain time and you're getting 8 hours of sleep, whatever it may be that you can start implementing. I want you to start implementing that. So now we're going to talk about, do I make excuses for my responsibility chart? Well, and if you ever make an exception, with it still fitting in, right? So I make exceptions and I'll go through that. The type of life that you want to live. So if you want to live a certain life and you have your daily routine, if you want to make an exception for that, go for it, but be cautious. The reason why you say that is because it can be a slippery slope. I am going to talk about an exception that I made. So last year, my Sundays are off. I don't book anything on Sundays unless I literally have to, right? Sundays are my day with my boyfriend. That is our day to go to the gym, do whatever we want. That's like our date day, right? And last year I decided that I was going to take a client on Sunday mornings. And she was a higher end client, and it was allocated to that morning time that I would take her, and I did it because it was just a great move for me. But honestly, it ended up taking over a half of my Sunday. So the thing is that, remember above with scheduling this is that before, I only took clients from 2 to 4 p.m., on certain days. So then on a Sunday, my morning time was kind of messed up and I didn't end up getting out of the house until later. My boyfriend and I didn't really have that much time to spend or to do these things. So it did take up a little bit. Now I'm glad that I did it because it's progressed to other things. But during that time, it definitely, it cut back that time for Jenn. So when I decided to say yes, I did charge a little bit more. So I charge an after hours fee. And they were totally okay with it. And so we did that and I made that switch. And it was fine, but gradually I could tell, this isn't something that that I can't keep doing, right? So with everything in life, I have a tendency to dive in headfirst into something, I want to change or even do. Hence, pro athlete here. I just dive in. I don't know any better than that just to do it. I'm super motivated at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, nothing sticks unless my ass has to get on stage in a swimsuit. So that's the only reason why I stuck through it, right? So the reason why I say this is a lot of us get into a routine that we're like, yeah, this is our structure, but we don't follow through with it. We make exceptions. And then we end up in the same place that we were before. But the thing I want to tell you guys is that we need to start enjoying all of this. We need to start enjoying it. Don't kill ourselves doing these things. Enjoy your significant other sometimes. Go to dinner. Yeah, maybe you're not going on a vacation all the time, but you need to structure this. So the problem is that in a lot of my excitement, I try to capitalize on the momentum and change too much at once. So the reason why I'm saying that is this is honestly a lot of people's problems. People want to do 75 hard right away, but they're not used to eating clean and they're not used to working out even one time a week. And then they go into 75 hard and then they crash and burn, right? So this is something that with doing our schedule, we need to make sure that we establish a routine going forward. So that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit more on today with doing your next step of your homework. But I want you to do something that is realistic and sustainable, right? So you built out your perfect day of what you look like. Now we're going to start building our responsibility chart, right? So focusing your change on one thing at a time is what I want you to do. Just a few small things during the week I want you to start tweaking, right? So let's talk a little bit. I'm going to talk about a little bit of goals that I did at first. So I'm going to take you back when COVID first started, right? So a lot of us did not know what was going on. And I stayed home for, I think it was like 4 weeks for the first month, because I was not sure exactly what was going on, right? So with that said, I ended up literally probably in my couch for 3 days, just working on building my Shopify e-commerce skincare online. So then that way I know I could at least launch that right away, have that going, and I can make some money off of that going. And this was before I even went into, the EOS coaching or any of that stuff. It was me still building my online presence. So this was, gosh, what, 2.5 years ago. So you can see how far it's come since then. So during that time, I would take clients virtually, and I would throw products together, do whatever, ship them out, and then do my online. But what I found out is that, I'm not doing anything conducive. I'm not doing that schedule that Jenn needs to do. I'm not building that. So what I started to do to start implementing, and the reason where I'm going at with this for you guys is that I had that aha moment and I gradually did what I needed to, right? So the first goal for me was a baby step. So the first goal was to reestablish my sleep routine during that period. So when I look at setting my responsibility goals going forward for my week to set in my perfect week of what Jenn looks like, the first thing I did was reestablish my sleep routine. Then the second week after I established that, the second week, I reestablished my morning routine that I was used to, right? Then the week after that, I started to establish my physical activity again that I was lacking. Then the week after that, I started to integrate the clean eating all over again, right? Then the week after that, I started to implement, my morning meditation that I was lacking doing. So as you can see, I didn't do it all at once. Every single week, I added something and built that routine back to where it needed to be. So I tell all of you this because don't do it all at once. Build it back gradually. Get a calendar, build it out in a calendar so you can see, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start this. I'm going to do this all week again. So this tiered approach was much more realistic and set me up for success. So I use this approach when I'm trying to establish anything new for the first time in my life. So I want you to talk about realistic daily objectives going forward, right? I don't want you to say, I'm going to, if you're not used to going to the gym for an hour and a half, I don't want you to set in to go to the gym for an hour and a half. I want realistic goals to set you up. I want you to look at what that end goal is going to be in the next 6 months to 12 months. What is that going to look like? And then you're going to start putting that in your calendar. Okay. So that is your homework today, you guys. I really want you to set in that perfect day, reevaluate that again, look in a calendar 6 to 12 months and start writing in those realistic goals weekly that you're going to start changing to get you to that point. All right. So I have a couple questions that I got from some people that DM me after the podcast. And there was a couple people, and this is totally off subject, but I had somebody ask, well, it's not off subject. I had somebody ask me a question about what's your advice for maximizing results of a new fitness challenge? So that is exactly what this is about. So I had a question about that. And I also had another question on How do you wake up early consistently? So this is literally what I do to get that. I put that in my calendar and I realistically put that in every single week to get me to the point of where I want to be 6 months to 12 months from now. So with this, you guys, I hope it helps a lot. Please share, like, review, and DM me for any questions or any concerns or anything you want me to go over. I would love to help you. Check out and look on Facebook. I am going to be going over the accountability chart as a entrepreneur and how to build that in your company. It is huge. It is literally the groundation and structure of any company. So with that said, you guys, I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day. And I will talk to you next week.